All right, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Are We Digital? Oh, yeah. How is this? How's it going? Welcome back to the Coffee Q&A. I feel like we're having some choppiness here. Kent, how are you? So, I don't know what the deal is. All right, so some choppiness. What can we do? We will try not to do too much motion. It's very strange. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. There's always something. Keone, oh, to you, man. You know, actually, one of my friends from Bangkok is actually, or you know, he's no longer in Bangkok. He now lives in Hawaii. He used to live in Bangkok, but now he's in Hawaii. He used to live in Toronto, but he's visiting. So it's like we're supposed to meet up for lunch today. How's it going? Hope your weekend was good. Mine was pretty good. We had a party for my brother who was for his birthday, and we had that yesterday. So we had a nice time. So I brought some cake along to share with you, and then I thought let's see the coffee that we roasted on Friday. Now, today's coffee is a coffee that roasted on Friday, and it is a coffee that that I made for my sister-in-law, and she was asking me for a coffee to give as gifts to her relatives in the Philippines because they're heading there later this week to go on a vacation and they'll visit family. And so I created this. I got this. It's a Huila blend from Colombia. Oops, let's zoom in a little bit more here. Good morning to you, Power Plant. To me, I don't know. Is the stream streamy for you? Because mine is all. It seems a little bit choppy to me. So I don't know if that's. Yes, this is choppy. I'll try not to do too much choppy movement. So, but we made this on Friday as part of the live stream when it was all kind of choppy, and I thought that let's. So here's the thing. A while back, a couple years ago, we made a series of videos where we were on the live stream where we're tasting coffee straight out of the roaster, and then every day after. And I learned that straight out of the roaster tastes great. The day after, not so great. And then subsequent days until maybe about a week later, with different shades of not so great. I mean, not that they're bad, it's just that they weren't as good as the first moment, right? So that, and it's an illustration of the degassing and the CO2 occlusion that occurs from the degassing of the coffee after roasting. So I thought that, since we roasted on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, it's now 3 days later, let's try it again and see the difference between Friday, which was very nice and clean and crisp and I think, a bit citrusy, and today, and see how it goes. And then, to cover up any of those issues, we've got cake. All right. PowerPoint says the frame rate is low, but the visual audio is great. Okay, good. Okay, well, I will try not to do too much moving so that it will be as smooth as we possibly can make it. All right, so let's have a look at our coffee here. We're going to need let me pull that in over here. Zoom in a little bit more. There we go. Better. So this is what I would call a light roast. Maybe not as light as some places go. Maybe not as light as Tim. Actually, that's a good question. I wonder. I think I still have some of Tim's coffee around here somewhere. Generally speaking, I poo-poo on light roasting. Generally speaking, right? Because it's just an affront to my, coffee, whatever you call it. But I've got this old bag of Tim lying around here. Fahem. Now Tim is an old friend of mine, and I do consider Tim to be kind of like, when it comes to modern specialty or third wave specialty, whatever you want to call it, coffee roasting, I think Tim is probably the hallmark of that genre of roasting. Him and I will sit around smoking cigars and talk about, the virtues of light roasting, and I will tell him about I'm not too far. I'm a little bit. You can see there is a shade difference. Like this is decidedly lighter than this, and that's true to the naked eye, where the lighting is better because this This is actually, if I'm looking at my reference monitor, this looks darker on the reference monitor than it does in real life. And same for this. So but you can see there is a shade difference, right? I'm a little bit longer, I think. Well, I forgot how long we went into it, through the first crack, but see, I can learn a lesson here. I can learn to drop lighter, drop a little bit faster. Yeah, like that's decidedly different. Huh? Power Plant says, I meant from Fridays. I hear you, man. I hear you. Don't worry, I hear you. Power Plant says, fan of The Martian. The author's third book is now a film called Project Hail Mary, starring Ryan Gosling as a teacher who has to save the stars from dying out. Wow, really? That sounds interesting, because how will you save stars from dying out? I mean, stars are like billions of miles away. Like if you were to tell me, hey man, there's this star, and I guess the closest one would be Alpha Centauri, which is 100 light years away. We got to go save it. You got to go save it. I got to go save it? How am I going to do that? Like, that's a monumental task. I was just sitting there the other day pondering like how I could make furniture last 300 years, and now I have to save a star. I think I might actually just sit there and start to cry. Naku, happy Monday to you. Palplan says, if you want to check out the novel, the audiobook is all right. I'm going to check it out. I'm going to look it up. That sounds good. Project Hail Mary. I mean, that's a great name for it. Hail Mary. Like, I can't imagine that. Ken says, strangely, the Kenyan beans from Tim always look darker on the outside than the rest of us. Oh, really? I wonder why that is. Without a doubt, Tim has an intent somewhere. It's probably, sometimes you might think, oh, it's a little bit darker than others. Maybe that's just kind of like, they made a mistake. But with Tim, I don't think there's a lot of things that Tim is doing without serious deliberation and being very deliberate about doing them. Anyway, let's go look here at our coffee. So here's the Tim Wendelboe. We shall not compare our coffee to Tim's. We will just live in our own, what do they call that? We will live in our own echo chamber of coffee. It's much more convenient that way. Okay, now we're going to get our scale. I see. I want to call it the O Gen 2 Tally Pro SE Studio Edition with the silky, shiny piano finish here. I always like piano finished enamels, right? That's kind of nice. Ken says, strangely, I already said that already. Always delicious. He's always delicious. Always delicious. Russell, good morning to you. How are you doing? How was your weekend? Did you guys do anything interesting on the weekend? Anything exciting or interesting? I finally finished my bandsaw restoration. About a month ago, I bought this. I ended up buying a used Delta Model 890. 890 bandsaw, which is a bandsaw that if you ever seen like woodworking or metalworking bandsaws, you probably, if I was to show a picture, you'd probably be like, oh yeah, I've seen that before, because it's been around for 90 years. I ended up buying this bandsaw from this guy because I was buying another thing from him, and I noticed that he had this bandsaw. I was like, hey, what's going on with that bandsaw? He's like, well, I'm also selling it, and he told me a little bit about it, and it worked. It looked ugly, but it was in great working shape, and it cut through, and he was asking for a very reasonable price for it. So I was like, all right, let me take it. And we took it apart to make it lighter because it's a cast iron bandsaw, so it's super heavy. So we took all the components off to transport it. And after I got it back here, I was like, you know what? I've got it all apart. It looks all beat up. Like the guy, whoever owned it before him, had spray painted it white because he didn't like the color, so he spray painted, and he did a poor job at it. So I was like, you know what, man? It's all crusty. It's all like, I'll just take it apart, strip the paint, and then repaint it, right? problem with me is that anytime I embark on these like modification journeys of like simple pleasures, it's never it never ends up being a simple pleasure. Ends up being this long, detailed process. I'm like, I started stripping it down. I was successful in most of the paint stripping, and then I was like, but some parts were like, it's cast iron, so it's sand casted, so it's all like sand pebbly in a lot of the parts, and it's like I can't get the spray paint out of it, no matter how much paint stripper I'm using. I'm like, I was like, I'm just gonna send it to the sandblaster. So I sent all the parts to the sandblaster. He turned around and did it, and then I was like, let's clear coat it. So I clear coated all the parts, and then it just takes time to reassemble because you want to like customize the base. You want to add these things, and you're like, all this stuff has to happen. I think I need this little paint detail on this little tiny like register, this pointer that needs to be yellow instead of like just steel color. And it's like, okay, we gotta get that. We gotta take that. Get that painted. So, but yesterday I finally finished it. And I think it looks It looks gorgeous. I'm like, I'm kind of impressed with myself. It's okay. So here's our coffee. Looks beautiful, right? But it looks like it was roasted by an expert. Now we're gonna take our famous grinder. Oh, I don't know. You guys heard Matt mention this. Like his ode also just crapped out. It sounded like he had a jam, and then like, but we were trying to put it back together. I think I might have shown part of this on the live stream on Friday. But there's a key that holds the spinner in here, but we would put it back together, but it wouldn't remain locked, and I couldn't get it. Even I was like trying to figure it out, and I couldn't get it to relock. It was really, really kind of strange. Really strange. Hopefully he sent it back, but I don't know if he did yet. Okay, so we've got our grinder set to this position here. So we're gonna continue on. Candy says I should be getting the Indonesian purple honey fermented Liberica in a couple of days from Wan Wan. Oh, nice. Looking forward to tasting it. Interesting varietal, interesting fermentation. So so you're gonna go pick it up from them? I mean, I would definitely ask them for like, what is the purple honey mean? I'm totally curious to know what purple honey is all about. So let us know. All right, so here we go. We got to grind. Oh, PowerPoint says literally could not hear what you guys were saying. Probably better because what Matt had to say about the style grinder was definitely not complimentary. But I gotta say that despite those issues, like this is actually when it works. Gosh, it works. I think it works pretty awesome. Oh, that's nice. Kind of nutty aromatics coming off of it at the moment. Yeah, there we go. See. Yeah, we were having. Look, it turns out, like, because I've done live streams from that workshop in the roastering space before, and I think we had very good results. I think on Friday there was a lot of cloud cover from rains, and I think that must have some kind of impact on. And I typically when I'm there, I'll try to run it from the phones, the Wi-Fi, not the Wi-Fi, but the 5G signal on the phone. Because I tend to find better results using the phone's internet than home internet or base internet, just because there's faster through speeds. I'll get 15 megabit upload speeds on the phone, while I'll get 5 to 10 on, let's say, like a network connection with Comcast, and it's like, which is the local service provider. It's like, why is the phone faster? So. Yeah, sometimes I think that day was weather related. But let's look at our coffee. Looks, I don't know if I did that already, but it looks nice. Yeah, it looks very professional. Ooh, actually it smells. Warm tones. There was a little bit of nuttiness at first when I was pulling it out of the the ground. I don't necessarily get heavy nuttiness, but it is very lovely. Okay, so we're going to make our coffee because we're going to do it in the way that we've been doing it lately. In the Cathec and the Abaca paper filters for the flower dripper. Kira says they have a shop on. Oh, they have a shop on Shopee. Ah, right, like Amazon here. But I'm going to see them at the Bangkok Coffee Fest on the 10th of July, and definitely. Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, Shopee. That's very popular in Asia, right? I know they had a lot of. I think we've been talking about it in Malaysia. I don't think it's very popular in the Philippines, but definitely I think Malaysia. Like they talk about like in Malaysia, you talk to Malaysians. Oh, you can go to Shopee and buy it, and buy. We could order our coffee on Shopee. The Malaysian Singapore accent for English, I think, is quite fascinating. I think it's. I really like it. I really like it. I don't know how. Like I know a lot of Americans don't get into it. I really enjoy hearing. I really enjoy hearing different accents of English and how people like interpret English and how they do different inflections and different emphases. Like for example, like I'll go to every time I'm in Africa, and I've been to Africa a lot. Like probably of all the places I've been to, it's probably the one of the places I've been to the most. But I'm always a little bit like I'm always kind of amused every time, like because you know how when you in our world when people come, let's say they come to your house or they come to your house, your place, and you what do we say? We say welcome. We say welcome, right? Hey, how's it going? Welcome, right? In Uganda, they like to say you're welcome, and it's and they mean, of course, like hospitality wise, welcome to our place. Oh yeah, that's what we'll say. We'll say welcome to our shop, right? They'll just be you're welcome, and as an American English speaker, we only use you're welcome as a response to thank you. So when I first started hearing it, it'd be like, I would walk into a place and be like, oh, you're welcome. And I was like, oh, thank you. But I think it's so interesting when you hear different people speaking English, and the way they speak English is very, very, to me, very fascinating and then the different accents of English. I really like it. I really find it fascinating and enjoyable to hear. Some are a lot more difficult than others, but Okay, we're just waiting for the water to heat up because I forgot to turn the water on. So our coffee, I think it looks fairly nice, right? Fairly nice. We need to. Oh, I didn't do that again. This is the problem. This is the thing for me that I'm just, and I'm only complaining because I'm coming from a world where I don't have any of these features, so I'm just used to like doing everything manually. So you'd think that I would have a better grasp of all of this like button pressing. For some reason, I don't with this thing. I don't really. Okay, 23. We lost coffee. We had 24. What happened here? Fellow is skipping a beat, or maybe because I probably had a little bit stuck in the filter, so we're not going to work to it. 23.9. The Bangkok Coffee Fest on the 10th of July. Well, those are always fun, those coffee fest things. I've been to the Sao Paulo Coffee Fest, and I think I went to the first New York one many, many years ago. I tend not to go to the if I was at the Sao Paulo because I was there, judging a competition. But if I don't know, I kind of like. I don't know. I tend not to go to those things. I'm like, oh, do I need to? Like when we're at the SCA show, like I almost never really went. Like I did when we were live streaming, but if I wasn't live streaming, I really don't go to the Roasters Village very much because there's and I know a lot of people, a lot of you guys will probably really enjoy the Roasters Village because it's a great opportunity for you to sit around and try different coffees from different roasters from around the world, and it's really, in that respect, it's a wonderful thing, and it's very popular. A lot of attendees are there, but for me, usually, since I'm at the show, because I'm at the show, I don't really want to take the time for that. But there's so much more that I want to see that I need to see, and then my personal predicament at the SCA show is that it's very, for me, just to see the show and see all the vendors, to see any kind of new products or anything, is, for lack of a better word, is hindered by the fact that I know a lot of people in the industry. So there's as I walk, it takes, it's always slow. It's always a slow walk because, no matter how fast I may be going, I'll invariably get stopped by someone that I haven't seen them and who I want to talk to. And I'm so happy to see them. And we'll sit around and chat. We'll hang out and chat for, like, let's say 10 minutes. And, there's only how many hours in a day to go that the show is open. So, if you do that 5 or 6 times, you've already burned an hour. And so it's like, oh man. So it can be a challenge. It can be a challenge. All right, let's we're waiting for this water to boil. I don't know, what else did I do this weekend? I got the band soft finish. My brother had his birthday party, and we had a party for my brother's birthday. And what else did we do? I ate gelati, Italian ice. I ate that. It's good. It's good. Almost there. Almost there. All right, I think. Oh, no, not yet. Still not yet. I ended up buying this big canister air filter, right? This is probably about that big, from a guy in the marketplace, because for the wood shop, I've been building this dust collection. I'm going to build my own dust collection system, so I needed the major components are the blower motor, the dust collector, separator, cyclone, whatever you want to call it, and then the filter, so that it filters out all of the small particulates that will get inside your lungs and give you cancer and make you die faster. So I found this guy who's selling this canister filter, and I've been trying to, and it's got the right size. And so I picked it up, and now I've been trying to figure out what is the way to mount it. So I've been trying to talk to the company that made it. But actually trying to figure out which company made it has been, because it's an OEM manufacturing kind of thing. So I'm like, been hunting down who the manufacturer is of this product. So hopefully we'll get that sorted today. Because what I really look for to see is, like, what kind of accessories come with it that might make the build process easier. Okay, now we're here, and we're going to hit this button because I always forget that. Now we're ready. Paige, good morning to you. And now we're brewing. How was your weekend, Paige? Anything interesting happen? Good coffees? Bad coffees? Okay, so 50-some grams. That's a good place to begin. We are roasting. We're preparing today the coffee we roasted on Friday to compare to the way it tasted Friday to see how much occlusion will occur due to the CO2 degassing of the coffee. Power Plant says really seems like the coffee channels on YouTube have stalled out on content. Oh, really? In what way are they only resorting to doing live streams because they have nothing else left to do? And they don't feel like editing anymore. You're like, I don't feel like editing, or just live stream it all. Live stream it all. It feels like they are treading water with content, just milling out. Oh, you're just retreading coffee from Friday instead of getting fresh coffee. I get it. Like, are there any I mean, not to call out channels or make them feel bad or anything like that. I don't really watch much coffee YouTube, so I don't really know contextually what sometimes you guys talk about. So I'm just curious to know more about well, when you say things like that, I'm wondering how is that manifesting itself? All right, let's do some more brewing. I have to say that I do I'm enjoying this Kogu brewer, this kettle, because the spout rate is just so different than whatever everything else that I have, that I kind of like it. And it's not and I think it's contextually congruent for me, right? Because this is a small, tiny kettle with a small, tiny spout, and the diameter of the tube to make the spout is very small. So it doesn't feel like it should be flowing faster. It's flowing about probably as fast as it possibly can. So I feel like it's different than, let's say, something like the fellow Stag kettle, right? Which you guys know infuriates me to no end. Or has infuriated me to no end. Okay, 245, 242. Ooh. 242 always has important meaning for me because I've always been a fan of a band called Front 242. Very industrial alternative music from the 80s. One of my really good friends, he loves to go watch them. He sees them on tour all over the place. He's going I think he's seen them in Europe. He sees them in Canada. He sees them in the United States. He sees them enough and that he knows the band members. They know him. They'll call him when they're in Toronto. I was like, dude, that's pretty amazing. And then one of my other baristas from years ago was actually posting this. He said, let to post this. I think he played last night at the place that we went to we did the live stream. Oh, did we do a live stream from that? Yeah, we did a live stream out a few weeks ago, maybe a couple of months ago, from a place called Meriwether Post Pavilion here in Columbia, Maryland. And he was performing there last night. And he's a trombonist who normally plays with Macklemore, but he was playing with someone else. I'm not sure who he was playing with. I'd have to look it up. But he posted, he was back in his hometown playing. And I was like, oh my gosh, man, that's amazing. A guy named Darius Christian on Instagram. Used to be a barista for me, man. When he was 15 years old, he worked for me at the old J. Shea Vice many, many years ago, 20-some years ago. And I think it was 2005 or 2006. Yeah, 2005 probably. He was 15 years old, and he competed in the Mid-Atlantic Regional Barista Championship, and took 5th place. So he did a great guy. Even to this day, he's an older guy now, living his life, doing really well. Oh, we're taking a little bit long. 442. I just kind of stopped. I just lost timing. That's all right. Ken says, Enders will use a new gear, which really brings nothing new to the table. Oh, I understood. To be honest with you, I do see, for some reason, YouTube will send on my feed, even though I'm not a subscriber. I'm a subscriber to Emily Bryant and Hoon. YouTube shows me almost nothing of their stuff, but every once in a while it will drop like probably once a week it drops, and whenever, and I guess it must happen whenever Lance Hendrick drops a new video, like it'll pop up on my feed and I'll see it and I'm like, wow, this guy has a lot of gear reviews. Like he's got gear reviews, like unbelievable. I'm like, wow, every week it's like there's new gear. It's like I have no idea that there's no, no, you know, it's a trap. I think like that's why gear reviews have been very infrequent on this channel, because you know like, and I love gear. Don't get me wrong, I love gear, and I like. But I think about this one guy that I follow in the YouTube sphere, a guy named Gerald Undone. He does a lot of camera and tech reviews, mostly camera reviews. And you know, he gets criticized, and I think rightly so, because man, sometimes it's just like all he does is Sony. It's like, dude, it's all just, are you just hacking for Sony? And sure, Sony, I'm sure, gives him sponsorship money and sends him a lot of gear, but I'm just like, God, man, it's all just. But that aside, his reviews are actually very good. Like when I was buying the ZV-1 5 years ago, like I watched his reviews on it, and he was the most thorough and the most. He was the best. He was the best camera reviewer at the time for that. But and then a few years later, I mean, even he was talking about it, that he was burned out on. He was like, I'm getting burned out on this kind of thing. And it's like, yeah, I can't imagine just doing gear reviews. That would be, to my mind, that would be terrible. Terrible. Proplan says, even Hoffman's last review was a rehash of a filter paper wherein he concludes just adjust your technique to the paper, and it doesn't really matter. Yeah, that doesn't really tell you too much, does it? But I wonder do we really need to, I mean, like, and I think maybe that's the problem with gear reviews and doing all these things, that maybe they feel, I think probably people feel compelled that if they're going to have a gear review, that it must be the most greatest gear piece of whatever technology ever, and will supplant everything before it. God. Plus, you know, what do you do with all that gear? It's all stacked up in your place. Like Hoon told me this a while back. Like, he's got a lot of stuff. I'm like, dude, what are you doing with all this stuff, man? And don't get me wrong, I bought all my stuff, and I'm like, oh my God, what am I gonna do with all this stuff? I gotta get rid of this stuff. I'm a coffee guy, though. I need to have it. Foolish. All right, here's our coffee. Coffee. There's a little taste. Kiona says, Lance actually just posted on an interesting thing on pour over and the use of long neck kettles. Oh, like you mean the really long neck kettles, like the ones from like Kalita, the copper ones that were like super, super long. Is that what? Okay, so let's taste our coffee here. The elixir is right here. Nice and clear looking. A little bit pungent. Ooh. Definitely this occlusion phase is. Yeah, there's a bit of this tightness, like almost, it's a tightness on the palate that is very reminiscent, but not necessarily the characteristics of the kind of like you get from drinking high tannic red wines, right? When you have like a young Cabernet Sauvignon from, let's say, California that's been oaked, or let's say you get a very heavy oaked Chardonnay, you get that really kind of dry tannic effect on your palate. There's effect of that. There's a characteristic of that, but it's not that heavy, like especially those young Chardonnays, like it's not quite to that extreme. Definitely not to that extreme. I want to say there's almost like a dry fruit, dry plum, but not in a natural way, but just kind of like a suggestion of dry plum. It's very clean on the palate, meaning that it doesn't it it dissipates quickly, so it's very clean in that respect. But I do think the CO2 degassing gives it a lot, is inhibiting a lot of the flavors, or just not showing just yet. There's some suggestion of like I said, this dry plum, dry fruit that seems very interesting. But at the moment, it's not terribly interesting. It's just kind of like, Power Plant says the last several coffees you have tried here have all been drying. Oh, drying. Maybe I'm just getting old. Maybe that's what. Kiana says Brian Kwan did one on Thailand coffees and how it's improved a lot and really good, but then said it is very hard to get Thai-grown coffee beans in the U.S. because of availability and cost. Oh, I can imagine. And I don't know Thai's coffee industry, but my presumption is that it's going to be similar in some respects to Philippine coffee. Philippine coffee, generally speaking, has been much more expensive, much more difficult to get, and partially because, and a big reason of that in the Philippines, Philippine-grown coffee is very popular for the local market, right? There's a whole, and we're not even talking specialty market, just the local market. Like the local market of Philippine coffee has been really dominated by this one type of coffee called Barako, and the Barako is basically Liberica beans that are typically naturally processed, and Filipinos love that lovely sweetness that comes with it. And so that's always been popular. Like ever since like in the 90s when I would go there, I'd be like, oh, let's get some coffees, some cupping Barako. And it's like, cupping Barako sounds pretty good to me. And I'm all about it. As long as you give me Sun Serval, that buttery meringue dessert, I'll eat any kind of coffee with that. But Harmon, when I first started buying Philippine coffees back in 2000, I was first introduced to it in 2014. Started buying in 2015. And I remember that the going rate at the time in country for domestic purchase and consumption was, and at standard quality levels, not specialty quality levels, was $3.30 a pound in 2014, which in 2014 was an astronomical amount to pay for just commodity graded coffee, right? Just like regular average premium, not even premium, maybe just commodity grade coffees, right? So, and specialty then was less than $3.30 a pound, right? The average specialty then was probably $2.35, $2.50. So, green buyers that had heard about Philippine coffees, and back then in 2014, not many. By 2017, people started showing some interest. But it was still way expensive. Like just the cost of entry was astronomical at $3.30. My cost back then was probably closer to 7, 8, 9, 10, somewhere between 7 to 10 a pound, because I had very, very specially produced coffee. Like the person that I was buying coffee from in the Philippines, I thought I considered to be the best producer in that era of coffee in the Philippines. Since that time, there have been other people that have input a lot of money to we're talking in the millions of US dollars into, creating farms and producing high quality coffee for specialty consumption. So it's changed a bit in the last 5 years, but good times. Michael, good morning to you. Nice to get a chance to pop in this. I know, it's good to see you, man. Good to see you. All right, so we've got our coffee. Let us also have some cake with the coffee. It's my brother's birthday this past week, so we had a little gathering for him on Sunday, and my mom made this cake. My mom is actually a fantastic baker who has unlimited amounts of energy to do this kind of thing, in addition to everything in the world that she does on her own, which includes, working a real job, being a contributor for charity and doing philanthropic kind of work. And I can barely get out of bed. And this woman who came to America seems to be unbounded by anything. So here we are. This is a cake. It's a mocha cake, a chocolate cake, which is actually kind of surprising. I think it's based on a red velvet cake. Right? My mom used to make a lot of red velvet cakes, so this is probably red velvet without the red dye. So just a basic, nice cake. Always typically moist. Buttercream icing. She hand does all of the flowers. Right? She pipes it all. I mean, it's truly amazing work. And here's the cake. Very moist looking crumb, right? We switch now. Oh yeah. That is the red velvet without the velvet or the red. Now yesterday they had we also had ice cream, so I ended up eating all ice cream and not having any cake. And then afterwards, I was like, I didn't have any cake. What happened? Oh. Like that is superb. Like she's really like the baking she's done. She does all kinds of baking. Philippine baking. This is like classic American baking. I mean, Jewish baking. Like she had this Jewish apple cake that she used to make for our shop at the library. That was awesome. People love that. Power Plant says Tres Leches is top 3 cake. Oh man, I hear you. Ooh, see, I'm losing control. My cousin, my brother loves Tres Leches, and but sometimes you get the Tres Leches that have they kind of overbaked the cake. So it's a bit dry. Like, and you think that, it's probably dry, but no, it makes a difference. Like if you use dry cake, even though you're adding all the milks to it, it's not as good as like when it's properly done. That's the one thing that kind of makes me a little bit irritated with things. Like, when they kind of cheapen out on things, like they think will cover up, like people that do dark roasted coffees or decaf coffees, and they're buying like low quality coffees because they think people won't notice. People do. I'm a big believer of that. Now, you have to have the great quality no matter what compromise you're trying to make. So while the coffee may be a little bit tight, maybe not as expressive because it is just a couple of days past roast and needs like another week for it to come to life. All of that is balanced by beautiful cake. Now, I did get a very large piece, I know. I won't eat all of it on camera. Anton, how are you, man? Good to see you. Lifted up at you. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Ken says, a new vegan bakery recently opened nearby, and I'm now addicted to their rhubarb. Actually, I'm going to presume that since you're in Sweden and you are at a bakery and they're probably pretty darn good, I'm going to presume that it's a very seasonal kind of bakery. So yes, this is now the time to be completely addicted and to eat as much of those rhubarb cupcakes, because they should probably be gone like in a couple weeks, right? See, that's good. Then there's the frosting here. I'm not really necessarily like I like this. Maybe to me, this is probably too much frosting. Oh, sorry. I don't want too much frosting. I like balance, right? I like balance between everything. I know. I'm going to eat until my coffee runs out because there's not enough. This coffee is not enough to balance this much cake. Anton says, Daddy Hoff made another video about filter rinsing that might give you a sense of relief. Oh, what did he say about filter rinsing? Did he say you don't need to do it? Because I've been saying that for a long time. Thanks, Jane. Welcome to the party after 5 years. I have thought that maybe I should revisit that video and do another version of it where we like taste the coffees again, taste the paper filters again, and see like how much flavor of the paper is imparted from each of these filters into the water. I don't know if you ever saw that original video, but there's a 2-part video. And I think I put it on this channel. I don't know if I put it on the Spro Coffee channel or not, but it's basically what I did is it's the basis of what I keep telling people that I don't rinse filters because I don't think you need to, because we took the filters and I basically did a cupping with them, right? You basically soaked them for 4 minutes in the hot water, took them out, cupped it, and if it had flavor, you could taste the paper, then you know you need to rinse it. And it turned out that, because back in the older days, all the rage was the unbleached. Everyone's like, you must have unbleached. It's so much better, blah, 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 blah. I think maybe 1 or 2 of the bleach filters gave a paper taste. But all of the brown paper filters gave a paper. Like that was the one you're like, oh man, that you got to rinse really hard in order to get rid of. So something to consider. Power Plant says, generally speaking, the worst cakes for me are the light meringue-based ones like chiffon. And a lot of people don't like chiffon. I like chiffon. I haven't had enough angel food to even have an opinion on it, actually. I think I've only had it maybe once in my entire life. But actually, chiffon was what I grew up eating because my mom would make chiffon a lot. I think most people like the heft of this type of traditional cake. Oh, can't really see it. Anton says, well, to be fair, I've always been saying I only do it for the filter to adhere to the brewer nicely. And those Kalita filters really do stink when you rinse them. Really? The Kalita filter? I'm going to have to revisit that. Kalita filters stink. So my friend's in town, and he's like, let's go get some lunch. And well, dude, are you gonna let me know if you still want to go? He was all like yesterday, like, well, let's go. I was like, all right, let me know. Ooh. All right, that's good enough. I did not finish. So, like our hypothesis and in theory had postulated before, coffee really does need about a week before it actually really comes back to life. Like this coffee is still enjoyable enough. Like especially, it's okay, but by itself it's okay. With the cake, excellent, right? Always enjoyable. But for us to return to there was an actually nice flavor to it on Friday, right after we roasted it. I mean, so much so that we did our little tasting, cupping style thing to compare the 3 different roasts that we had of this coffee. and then we brewed a bigger batch in that fellow brewer or whatever. This is not the same. I mean, it's the same. It is the coffee that we use, but it is not the same results because CO2 occlusion has now, totally taken over. So maybe we'll bring this back next week. We'll try it again and see how it's doing. Paraplant says coffee dogma is weakest dogma beyond grind size and stuff. Obviously, beyond grind size suiting the method. I tire of the. We must have dogma. Like, we cannot pontificate unless we have we must rally people to our cause. At least that's my thought. All right. We'll figure out some more dogma for tomorrow. But we're back in tomorrow for another episode of the Coffee Q&A. Great to see all of you. Thank you very much for hanging out with you. Good. Hope you had a great weekend. We've got we probably will do all 5 days this week, I think. I don't have any plans. Oh, yeah, that should be good. All right. So hope you have a wonderful day out there or night or whatever you want to do next. Thank you, Q&A. Good to see all of you guys. Powerplant says crepe cakes are also, we had crepe cakes. Speaking of crepe cakes, here in Maryland, we have something called Smith Island cake. If you want to look it up, you should look it up. Basically, imagine like regular moist yellow cake that instead of having, let's say, 2 layers, they slice it. So like maybe there's like 10 layers of that and chocolate frosting. Ooh. It is so key. It is so key. You should try it. All right. So thanks very much for tuning in. As always, great to see all of you. Back again tomorrow with another episode of the Coffee Q&A. So until then, ciao.